Good evening, everyone. It's a Sunday night. Sky Sports have well and truly thrown us off this crazy schedule. Midweek game, and we're doing a countdown to kickoff. That is absolutely mental. I said thanks to Sky Sports in our FCA winning speech. I want to thank them again for throwing us completely off hinge. We had a Friday night live. Now we've got a Sunday night live. We've got no episode going out tomorrow morning. This will replace that. But here we are, ready to talk Stevenage at home. Chaz, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm completely off kilter. Doesn't help that, it's been a proper uni weekend where I woke up yesterday thinking, oh, look at what football's on today. It's a Saturday. What's the 12:30? What we're looking at? I turned over my phone and it was half time in the 3:00 kickoff. So that's never an ideal start to your weekend. It's been a lazy one, but yeah, Tuesday night, big game at home to Stevenage. Some would say that it's a bit of like a local sort of thing. I think I've seen some Stevenage stickers that have had like their fans peeing on Posh badges and stuff littered around the city centre. But yeah, it'll be a good game, and it's nice to be here on a Sunday evening talking Posh.
No better way to get at it. Before I bring in our first guest, I just wanted to thank Prime Vehicle Sales for their sponsorship for this episode and the matchday package in itself. They are, of course, my mum and her partner's business down in Sawtry. If you need any used cars or vans, please do head to their website, primevehiclesales.co.uk, or give them a call. I'm sure they'll be more than willing to help you find your next used vehicle. And with that, I'm going to bring in Nate from the Borough Pod, and he's going to talk to us about Stevenage. Nate, good evening. How are you?
Hello, chaps. How you doing?
All good, thank you. All good. Where shall we start, I guess, is the question. Obviously, you were off to a flyer this season. Do you want to talk to us about how this season has gone so far?
Oh, yeah. It's been a bit mad, to be honest. We didn't expect it. Last season was very hit and miss. We'd have a couple of wins, then we'd lose a few, then we'd win a couple, and we'd lose a few with the draws thrown in. But it was so inconsistent last year, and you could sort of see what Revs wanted to happen, but it just wasn't. I think recruitment this summer has been really good across the board. Generally, there are a few signings that are a bit head scratchers, and we're months later, still trying to figure out why some of these players are coming. But it started off really well, and we've been well. I mean, we had a great run all the way up to the beginning of October when we did Luton at our place, and then we've gone off the boil a little bit. Just not scoring goals. We're not playing particularly poorly. But there's no goals coming at the moment, and we're not even creating, and that's what's worrying. There's probably not a lot of difference in the level of our performance across the board, other than the goals.
Yeah, I mean, somebody who was absolutely banging them in for you at the start of the season, it felt like, it's Jamie Reid. He didn't play yesterday, did he? Is he injured? Is he suspended? What was the reasoning for that?
I don't know. We expected him to. He was in international squads, and I assume there was a knock. There's often a knock with Jamie Reid, but we really miss him when he's not there, because he just even when he's sort of not at the races in terms of getting goals, he brings an awful lot to the team across the board, and it's just not the same with the likes of Bez Labala up front, or even worse, Gassan Hadmi.
Ex-Cambridge, I'm sure he'll get a mention at some point. You look at the last couple of fixtures, then it's been, we've had a massive upturn in form. For you guys, other than a trophy win, it's been a pretty bad downturn. What's gone wrong?
Goals. They've just dried up. No one's on form. No one's taking their chances. You could put 5 past Crystal Palace kids, but we scored. Obviously, other than that, I think we scored once in a month. Since not quite a month, but coming up on a month. It's just not good. It's just not good enough. I'm sure we'll get back to it. But it's just I think the important thing, and I think something that we need to take sort of heart from at the moment is, if we win Tuesday night, I think we can still go top, and we've still got games in hand on people. Like, that's ridiculous. The fact that we haven't won for near on a month, and we're still touching distance of the top, gives us something to hold on to when results aren't going our way.
Yeah, do you know what? That's kind of funny that you say the sort of last month, because if you'd have said to me a month ago that when we got round to this fixture eventually after it being postponed the first time around, that the last 5 games of form would mean that Posh had 9 points, scoring 11 and only conceding 4, versus Stevenage having 5 points and 3 for and 3 against, I would have probably laughed at you, I think, actually. And I think that's probably fair, is that it was definitely a game that, absolutely. I think it was a game that I was dreading, maybe, because for me, Posh are always going to be a bigger team than Stevenage. And ultimately, I don't think they're a team that Posh will be losing to in times gone by. But this season, it sort of looked like, well, we're probably not going to get the better of you guys. Is that?
I mean, we have beat you once or twice.
Yeah, not
but
that
once or twice, right? Like, I can think of.
Yeah. I've not done the head-to-head check. That'll come up on Monday night when I get our graphics ready for Tuesday. But obviously, in last season, we obviously won at London Road. It was a draw at your place, and then obviously we beat you in the Virtue Trophy on that absolutely rotten Tuesday night in October or November, wasn't it? So, what sort of changed from last season do you think, that other than the recruitment, that meant that your manager got it right and you got off to such a flyer?
This sounds really disrespectful to Revs and the team, and I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but I almost think it's the typical thing of people looking at Stevenage, and there are always two things that we get: little old Stevenage and big physical Stevenage, which, like, it's like tiny club, no fans, they won't be a problem. Oh, but they're big and physical, so if you play football against them, you'll beat them. Which, Richie Wellens loves to fall into that trap a lot. The big prick he is, and I think teams underestimate us. I mean, we played some really good stuff against Blackpool opening day, and won that one. I think 3-2 in the end. They got a late goal, but 3-1 flattered them a bit, if I'm honest. And there have been a couple of other results in there that we've looked really, really, really good, and then there are results where we've looked pony. I'm really upset that we didn't play when Fergie was still in charge, because I've been saying for about 6 months that Peterborough are going to have the D-Max special. Ferguson's going to get fired because they've started shite. New manager will come in, you'll get a mad bounce. You might miss out on playoffs this year, but then you'll probably get them next year. You'll miss out on promotion. That manager will get sacked. Ferguson will come back in, and you just rinse and repeat. That's what happens. So I'm devastated to be catching you in a new manager bounce. And to be fair to Williams, I think he's a good manager, really good manager for League One, and I'm really annoyed he's in Peterborough.
Yeah, I mean,
mainly because we've got to pay you. Nothing else.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I think under Fergie, this game would have been an absolute nightmare for us. I
would have loved it.
He'd lost his touch by the end. So 2 things. First of all, obviously, most Stevenage fans weren't expecting to be in the situation you're in. I think that's fair to say. Is there now an expectation that something has to happen this season? Like, if you missed out on top 6, would there be a massive crash out in the Stevenage fan base? That's my first question. And second question, sorry, go.
Well, sorry, I was going to say, like, there was a full time. Like, people were saying, enjoy the next 5 years of this, for God's sake. And because obviously they gave Revs a 5-year deal, which everyone's sort of like head scratching a little bit, even the people that love him. And there was quite a lot of negativity on Twitter, but we are one of the most negative fan bases I've ever seen, because we just expect to be shit most of the time. So when we're good, it's like, yeah, but it's not going to last, is it? And then when it inevitably comes crashing down, everyone's like, I knew it was going to happen. Fuck them, and it's really toxic.
So, what is the minimum that you personally are expecting this season?
I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed if we don't finish in the playoffs. But I think anything above, I mean, progress, right? Anything that's progress on last season for a small club like Stevenage, or punching well above our weight, you have to try and take the positives of. We finished 15th, 17th or something last season. I can't remember, but it was shite. And you know, we're making progress on the field. We're making progress off the field, and it looks like we're making progress on the table. So, pretty happy with it at the moment. Results aren't good, but you know, as long as we we don't let it continue too far, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and you know, we plummet. As long as we can keep our heads above the water, and you know, probably, you know, we try to not lose away and win as many at home as we can, which is, you know, the bare minimum, really, isn't it? Then we can't argue. We can't ask for too much.
Yeah, and just, you know, you mentioned that 5-year deal for Alex Revel. Just tell me a little bit about this style of play. What are we to expect from his Stevenage team on Tuesday night?
So whether it happens or not is another thing entirely. But we do get the ball down and play it a lot more than we used to. You know, you guys have had Steve Evans as manager. You know that he only likes football being played in the final third. If you've got the ball in your own third or the middle third, the aim is to get it down to that final third as much as possible, and that's where you play football. And we were certainly, you know, that was certainly the case at Stevenage, as it's been most other places. Revs has managed to keep a lot of that sort of defensive core stable, and improve on it even. You know, Charlie Good's come in, who's certainly better than Dan Sweeney. We've got Lewis Freestone, who's coming on and getting better and better. Dan Butler is still playing, you know, at left back for us, and he's been solid as hell. I think we tried.
Nate, can I ask you a question on Dan Butler quickly?
Yeah, go on.
Is he still doing that thing where he doesn't go in at half time and has to just like continuously keep moving?
Well, he goes in. He goes in at half time, but then he's out after like 5 minutes. So you know, he goes in and has a piss, and then sort of comes straight back out and warm, and sort of keeps warm. But yeah, he still does it. Yeah.
And obviously, the only other man that's another Borough reject, Carl Pidjani. He's obviously banned, isn't he, for Tuesday night's game after
night, which
making 5 assaults like he did on Ricky J. Jones a few seasons back.
Yeah.
Is he going to be a big miss for you guys?
He will, but not as much as he would have been season before, early season before, or season before last. I've had a few questions about his performances of late. He seems to have lost another step, which, you know, he only had half a step in the first place. So he's basically running backwards most of the time now. He's still a very good footballer for Stevenage, don't get me wrong, but his consistency has just sort of started to wobble a little bit, and boy, could we do with that coming back.
Yeah. I have a question then just about the game in general. Last year, I remember, or was it last year or maybe the year before, there was like a police escort and the Stevenage fans, you know, there were pyros and stuff. Like, is this game viewed to be and I remember actually, just a quick anecdote. We were once on a train back from Charlton, me and a couple of Posh mates, and you'd played Leyton Orient away that day, and the police would not let us on a train with Stevenage fans because they're quote unquote rival fans. Is this viewed as a rivalry by Stevenage fans? And no. If this isn't a rivalry, what is your rivals?
No, it's not. Not fucking level-headed normal human beings, which, you know, maybe there aren't that many of. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. No, I wouldn't say like it. You'd push it to be like a local derby, which, you know, is not the same thing as a rivalry. Like a local derby that's what it is. Us and Luton is a local derby. We're not rivals. They're a much bigger club. They will always be a much bigger club. That's how it is. They're not rivals, but it's a local derby. it doesn't really mean it means fuck all to most of us, if I'm being honest. Cambridge, we don't like Cambridge, fuck them. And then Woking, fuck them even further, and then Barnet as well. But you know, no one really. Those are from our conference days, and you know, we haven't played either of them in nearly 2 decades. So who cares? Well, not Barnet. We played them a couple of times since, but you know what I mean. Like they're no one. They're non-league fodder. Like people look at us like that.
Nate, is there anybody at Posh that you're concerned about? Obviously, like I said a month ago, I would have expected the answer to be no, but our fortunes have changed. Who concerns you, Posh-wise?
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone. I honestly, at the moment, our form's dodgy as hell. So I'm just not. I'm feeling very negative about this game. I'm not going to lie, boys. I'm not looking forward to it. Anyone in your sort of attacking area, I'll be honest, is going to terrorise us Tuesday night. So all of the above.
This is exactly what the viewers and listeners want to hear, because for months on end, it's been negative. Well, negative from a Posh side and positive from the away fan or the opposition fan. But this is what we're here for. Teams are finally worried about Peterborough United, and Peterborough United are back.
Probably like. Oh no, I was going to say Lisby, but he plays on the left, didn't he? And
he rotates with Otto.
Okay,
so left and right.
I think Luther's probably. Well, I don't know. He might not even play Luther because he's always in and out with injury. But I think, yeah, Lisby or like Leonard maybe. I think is gonna have a fun day, and I think we'll struggle.
Is that Lisby on the right up against Dan Butler that concerns you, or is it Lisby on the?
No, on
left?
The right. Definitely on the right. I think teams have stopped sort of attacking us down the left when Luther starts, because you don't really get much joy down that flank. So down the right is what concerns me, because don't get me wrong, Butler's a class act. Still, you know, he's definitely better going forward than he is defensively. But he's never been blessed with that much pace, and I think you put the likes of Lisby, Udo, Leonard up against him, and you're gonna have fun.
I cannot wait. So, Nate, before we wrap up, we discussed this beforehand, and I am simply excited for where this is going to go. Prediction time from you, please. The score, and if you think Stevenage are going to score, what do you think, or who do you think, sorry, that the goal scorer for Stevenage is going to be, the first goal scorer, that is?
Right, so I'm going to go 1-0 Stevenage. We're going to absolutely shithouse the scrappiest, filthiest win you've ever seen. Peterborough fans are going to leave the ground steaming because they don't know how they've won that game. We're going to have less than 30% possession. We're going to have one shot on goal, and it will go in off of Bezlabala's arse. It's not going to be. It's not going to be Labala who scores. I'm joking. Kem Campbell.
Do you think that he'll do a Poku-esque run to the London Road end if he scores in front of the Stevenage fans and celebrate in front of the Posh fans like Poku did last season? No. Or do you think he's going to be into the main stand with the 50 Stevenage fans that make the short journey up?
I'll be honest. He'll barely even react.
And how many fans are you looking at bringing, just out of interest?
About 9.
Yeah, nice. Wow.
It's Peterborough on a Tuesday, and it's on Sky. Why would anyone want to go to it?
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
the reality of it is that Peterborough is one of the most expensive away days in the league, and it's grim. So why the fuck would we do it?
Yeah, it doesn't. I've never looked at those wooden seats and thought, get me in there.
No, but it's you know, it's not even that. The ground ain't awful for away fans. It's not. It's not one of the worst in the league by far. It's the trip is. It's not that far, and it feels fucking miles. And we never play well in Peterborough, so why the fuck would we keep going back?
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, there we are. I hope loads of your fans missed that scrappy 1-0 win then.
It'd be even better if there's like 3 of us in the stands and we win. That'd be hilarious.
And you've all got the train with that Thameslink discount code that Clive promoted, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, wicked.
No,
Thanks,
I
Nate.
think we'll be driving, actually.
Do you want to just shout out your pod so that any Posh fans can go and give that a listen before or after the game, whenever you release your next episode?
Yeah, we'll go live tomorrow evening at 8:30 on YouTube. Just borrow a pod fucking everywhere. So if you don't find us, because we're not on it.
Quality. Wicked. Well, thank you anyway for joining us this evening. And are you coming on? We should ask, are you coming on Tuesday or not?
I actually moved like miles away the other day. Literally, like the other day. So not a chance. No, it's nearly 200 miles for me.
Ooh, Christ.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy Sky Sports Plus. Is it that they'll show it on?
Yeah, I might not even watch it. I might just put the radio on and listen to our Three Counties radio. Steve and Dean are just winding up Posh fans. That's all they do, which is obviously the job of local radio, right? Piss off the opposition fans. They're so good at it.
Yeah, no arguments from me. Wicked. Thank you, Nate.
Cheers, chaps.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, Nate.
Right, Chaz.
Oh, God, I feel confident.
Oh, don't you just? The chat is flying at the moment. Now, one thing that I would like to bring up to the chat, knowing the 23rd, so not quite the 24th, and this did make it into the group chat earlier. I'm going to put it on the bottom, and I want everybody to respond in the chat. Do you call the fat guy at Christmas Santa or Father Christmas?
I guarantee the first answer is going to be something stupid like Saint Nick, and I'm going to crash out. Or
Ashley or something like that. Hit us with it. And then I'm going to move us on to this one. Just get your questions in via the comments.
By the way, I said on that live on Friday. Yeah, nice lads. I said on Friday night on that live that I was talking about how much I was confident that we were going to beat Stevenage, and everyone was like, "Oh, Charlie, what's wrong with you, man? Like, why are you saying that? We've just had a broken man on this podcast. He was not in a good way, and that's what I was looking at Stevenage results. I was looking at their form, and that was before they even drew 0-0 with Doncaster. And listen, we're fine. We're absolutely fine. This is going to be another absolute just stroll in the park for Luke Williams' boys. I'm sure of it. Got a couple more answers.
The thing is that they can go top of the league tomorrow night, and he was still concerning himself with, well, as long as we finish better than last season, that'll be a good season for us. Like, that is crazy stuff for a team that was dominating so early on in the season. And I went back and looked at their fixtures, and maybe this is where it's sort of coming from, is that they haven't actually played anyone good in the top half of the table. And when they have, they've not got a good result against them. I think I put a tweet out, didn't I, saying that we would finish above Stevenage. And from what Nate's told us, I think that there's every chance that that will happen. I'm going to pull in Mark now. Get our Posh round. Good evening, Mark. You're muted at the moment. Make sure you unmute yourself.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. Yeah, very well, guys. How about you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody, or would you like me to do the honours? Obviously, you'll notice that I've changed my background, so I'll let you tell everyone why I've changed my background, if you like.
Sure. Yeah. Well, obviously, aside from being on here in the capacity of a Posh fan, I am also a former marketing manager at the club and responsible for Pizzagate. So there you go. Strap yourselves in.
Oh, Mark. I want to start off the questioning on. I think we've got to talk about Pizzagate briefly. My question is, at what point did you realise, shit? Was it straight after the teaser went out, or was there a moment before that when you'd already done it and then...
So, yeah, no, so, immediately after the kind of so it wasn't even the well, yeah, it was the teaser, wasn't it? But the issue is, right, here's my view on it. There were two that went out before Joe Ward was pictured, and those focused exclusively on ingredients to make a pizza and a pizza box being carried through a pizza restaurant, both with Italian music playing in the background, right? So whilst I get the whole Joe Ward thing, nobody was asking the question of what's the Italian relevance here? What sort, nobody joined those dots. So, and I think the important thing that people need to know is none of this stuff just goes out without having been seen. It has a number of eyes on it. There's a concept, stuff's reviewed. So it's very, very easy to be smart after the event. But it wasn't until the feedback started coming in that anybody kind of realized there was anything remotely controversial about it.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been tough, and we do sympathise with you. And also, you're thinking about getting a pizza show out. You're not thinking about the contract situations of players, and
it's important to remember. I was only in the job maybe not even a couple of months, several weeks at that point. So and I wasn't intimately familiar with players' contract statuses, and honestly, it was as straightforward as we've got a half an hour slot in Pizza Express on Wednesday morning. Who's available? Who can we get? And someone went, Wardy's brilliant at media stuff. Get him in. That was the extent of the conversation. So, yeah,
well,
good fun.
Good job. He's brilliant at media stuff, because he certainly isn't good at football. But that's by the by. Mark, talk to me about this season so far and what your thoughts of it have been. Good and bad?
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting, isn't it? Because there was clearly in the first part of the season, despite, all the inevitable optimism that creeps in over a transfer window and new blood coming in and what have you, there was clearly a hangover, wasn't there, from the end of last season? Whatever was going wrong at the back end of last season that saw us kind of barely hang on, that was still present, wasn't it, at the start of this season? And so, it's been a slog. I don't think there's any other word to describe it. But I wanted to pick up on something, because I know it's not being said as a kind of an insult, but like more recently, I think we need to stop using the new manager bounce phrase, because it almost feels disrespectful to Luke Williams at this point. Like I get it that there was that instant response, running harder, working harder, all of those kinds of things. And if that's all that we'd seen was just more effort out there, then I think you go, yeah, that's the players trying to impress the new manager. But like, he's altered the DNA of the team on the pitch, hasn't he? The names and faces are the same, but the performances are unrecognizable. And it's just been a privilege, I think, to watch these last few weeks and see, these players who've come under huge amounts of criticism suddenly kind of doing all the things we've always been told that they're capable of. So yeah, roller coaster.
Yeah, amazing. Were you happy with the appointment of Luke Williams going back to it? Was he high up on your sort of, I'd quite like him list? If not, who was?
It's interesting, because I think I shared your views at the time, Charlie. I think, given where we were and how kind of dire things looked, I felt we were going to go with a steady hand. So and there was no more obvious candidate, was there, than Steve Evans at the time. That's the direction I thought we would go in terms of the need to fix something immediately. And I think, even though I was really excited at the prospect of Luke Williams as we learned more kind of about him and what have you, I think for me, you felt, this is we're going to have some patience here. This is going to take a little bit of time, and so very, very excited at the prospect of Luke Williams, but in no way did I anticipate how quickly he's been able to kind of implement such a degree of change. So I think we've hit the jackpot. I don't think there's any other word to describe it.
Yeah, and talking about hitting the jackpot, you mentioned players that have sort of stepped up under Williams. Who do you think the big winners have been in this sort of managerial change? And on the flip side, do you think there have been any players that will sort of lose out because of the new manager?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? And I think I think to say, players who've kind of benefited from Luke Williams probably doesn't give enough credit to those players who have ultimately still had to go out there and do it, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? You can benefit from new tactics and what have you, but ultimately you've still kind of got to go out there and perform. And I think kind of the emergence of Lisby over the last couple of weeks has been really encouraging to see. I think he's somebody that you guys have talked about a lot, that has clearly got a high ceiling in terms of potential, but his raw materials, I think, is probably a fair description at the moment. But actually, he's out there, giving these really kind of high energy, committed performances. He's a threat, even if he's not always kind of capitalizing, although he's doing that more often than he isn't. But I think, without wanting to just repeat what's been talked about at length on the pod, I think you're right. I think that the attacking players, are clearly flourishing. And I'm not somebody who knows about football tactically, right? So I couldn't profess to tell you why that is. But we've had a strike force that we knew had all this potential and is now sort of banging stuff in for fun. So they must be kind of rubbing their hands coming to the training ground every day, I'd have thought.
Mark, one of the questions that's come in from Ed in the chat is, who is your favourite Posh player of all time? And I suppose why is probably a good question to answer.
It's a great question. See, I think I've had this conversation with somebody before, where to me, like, a great player isn't necessarily someone kind of statistically, it's not necessarily somebody that's sort of banging goals in for fun. It's sort of, I like workhorses, I like guys we can see they're out there making an effort. And I think, when I sort of started watching Posh, I'm not from Peterborough originally, I was sort of dragged along to Posh in sort of the mid 90s and what have you, so there wasn't a huge amount to shout about. But I think, Dave Farrell is a player that, stands out from those kind of, early years of watching Posh. He was a highlight amongst, some fairly ordinary performances, and obviously went on to become a Hall of Famer. So I think, to avoid recency bias and pick somebody kind of, from the new gen, I think Dave Farrell is a player who not only had great quality, but kind of went out there and worked really, really hard every week. Yeah,
that's not one I'm going to be honest that I'm particularly familiar with, but it's good. It's good to hear some different names rather than, we've heard Ronnie Edwards so many times now that it gets to a point where you're looking for a Dave Farrell. A couple of comments as well. One from Steve Oxley. Do you three think we'll get Tom O'Connor permanently in January? Well, Steve, if you listen to the Hard Truth episode that we did with Dara, he seemed to suggest that is not a question, rather than just, a formality that is waiting to happen, and that we'll get Tom O'Connor on a permanent deal. I love Tom O'Connor. Mark, he's just so good, isn't he?
He really is. I mean, to just sort of, I think just everything about him, it's the little things like, sort of prior to his arrival, the knock on a lot of our centre backs, if they got a head on something, it kind of it went immediately to, kind of like an opposition. So they were kind of maybe winning the header, but not finishing finishing the job. And you look at Tom O'Connor, and everything he does is deliberate. He's not just heading a ball away from the box. He's had a look at where that header needs to go, and and sort of making sure it's out of danger or converting it into a pass. I think it's terrific. And as you say, Dara's spoken openly, hasn't he, about our moves in the loan market being ones where, there's a realistic chance that it could convert to a permanent deal. And I think, rarely has there been a bigger case for that than in Tom O'Connor.
Yeah, look, Mark, I'm absolutely loving the chat tonight, so I'm going to keep bringing these questions up. What's your favourite Posh kit as a marketing man? Hit me with your best.
Interesting. I'll give you two, and one will be from.
No. You have to choose one. This is
all right. Well, okay. All right. There was a reason I was going to give you two. I'll give you the no. You're fine. I'll give you the '96 home kit. That was the Thomas Cook, had the white collar and the sort of the white sponsors band kind of across the middle there. And purely because it was the first football shirt, it was the first Posh kit I'd ever owned. So there's it's a nice kit, but also, there's some positive memories coming from that. The reason I was going to give you another was purely to talk about one that kind of we put out sort of on my watch, and it was the sort of Barcelona-esque themed kind of blue, purple, and gold from that 2023 season. I think I thought that was a really nice one from recent years.
Yeah, that was a good kit. That I was a big fan of. To be fair, the kits that season were quality. That was the Central Badge home kit, wasn't it? And then it was was it a pink away kit we had? And then the Barcelona third kit. Yeah, honestly,
right.
very, very good season in the history of Peterborough United kits. I have to admit. So fair play to you for whatever role you played in that, Mark. I have to ask my next question, which is a selection question for Tuesday night. We've spoken about Matthew Garbett on Friday night, but just to go into a bit more detail, obviously, Fergie would not be bringing Garbett back in, I don't think, because he hated changing a winning team. We're under a new regime now with Luke Williams. Do you think Matt Garbett gets the nod to start on Tuesday? And if so, where?
Do you know what? It's a really difficult one, because I don't think you can ignore the performance of Jimmy J Morgan on Thursday night, wasn't it? I think not only what he was doing kind of in an attacking sense, but his willingness to, do some dirty stuff and get back and defend and track. And I mean, I'm not singling him out for that. I think as a team performance, we did that to a man on Thursday brilliantly. But I don't, and it's not a criticism of Garbett in any way, shape, or form, but I don't get that sense that he's that same player. And yet, an abundance of quality there. But I've also heard some talk that potentially he could occupy one of the wide positions. I think he does so for the international team. Correct me if I'm wrong. And if that's the case, even then, I need to be careful what I say here, because I know it's always controversial to bring up Abraham Oddo. But Lods talked about, didn't he, on your most recent episode, kind of his workmanship, and not necessarily terrific in terms of kind of attacking output, but he's willing to work hard. And again, it's not a suggestion that Garbett isn't, but I don't think we've seen him in a position on the field where that's been required of him to date. So I think you do with Garbett, as we have done with Morgan when Garbett has started, and he's a tangible option off the bench that can change a game for you. If we need to approach it slightly differently. But I think Morgan was outstanding on Thursday night and would feel very hard done by to lose out.
Yeah, I've gone with him as my first goal scorer, so I hope he doesn't get dropped. Looking at the comments, because Mark, you are getting inundated with questions, my friend. We'll start off with...
I can't see them, so that's probably a good thing.
Gary Reed is in there. Where do we realistically see Posh finishing this year with the current team? Mark, I'll pose that to you.
Again, it's to be really careful here not to be seen to be being kind of bombastic or what have you. But the more I look at the table and the more I look at the numbers, we're a couple of wins off of, yes, we need some results to kind of go in our favour. But like the way the start to this season has felt as a Posh fan versus the reality of the league table are two vastly different things. And based on what we've seen for the last sort of 4 games under Luke Williams, I'd almost be disappointed if we weren't at least challenging for playoffs come the end of the season.
Let's have it. This next question, Mark, is obviously from Lods. You missed out on the mid-section chat, so we would of course like to get your opinion on whether it's Father Christmas or Santa. I don't actually know who him is, but let's assume that he means the guy.
I think if you ask my kids who they call the fat man on Christmas Day, they would say Dad. But it's a Santa house. We're a Santa household.
It's got to be a Santa house,
but we're a Santa household. I make no apologies for that.
Oh, we were the biggest of Santa households, so you need make no apology to me, Mark. Another question in from Steve Oxley, and this is, I guess, maybe off the back of some comments that I've made and that I got, held to task for by Dara. do you three think Barry Fry is not given the credit he deserves from Posh fans? I guess I'll let you answer that first, Mark, and then I'll sort of come in with my own little bit.
Well, I, as I said sort of earlier, I was first dragged along to Posh, and I say dragged along because, like it wasn't my local team. Like I didn't have that emotional connection. I was kind of newish to the area. But like around the height of one of my earliest memories of going to Posh was at the final whistle, everybody racing to the kind of the main entrance to stage a fry out protest. That's one of my earliest memories of attending a game, and not quite what's going on. But listen, I think Barry has more than earned the right to to the reputation that he's earned and deserved over the years, and I think there are probably elements to his role which are more suited, as you've mentioned recently, Chaz, to perhaps a younger, let's say a younger communicator. But I wouldn't want to be sat opposite Barry at the negotiating table. And I suspect that's probably where he's worth his weight in gold.
Yeah, and this is the thing, because I mean, when I spoke to Dara about it, first of all, he had, written on his little sheet of quotes a very salacious headline, which didn't quite encapsulate the full meaning of what we were saying. But I don't think any of us have ever disrespected Barry Fry's legacy at Posh, really. I know there are some people that are not a fan and have never really been a fan, but actually I think largely on the podcast, we all really see what Barry Fry did for the club as a massive positive, putting his house up for collateral, stuff like that. He took massive risks for the football club financially, and he really laid his life on the line, in my opinion. So criticism of Barry Fry, and it's not even direct criticism of Barry Fry, it's more criticism of his position that from us is always comes with the caveat that we're very thankful. And I think that's the same with Dara as well. When we criticize these senior people at our clubs, that doesn't immediately mean we just negate anything good they've done. It just means we're questioning their current sort of position. And yeah, Barry Fry is very much like that, I think.
And I'll just say one thing on Barry before we move on as well, is that, obviously I was only with the club for a very short period of time, but I remember being in a meeting with a number of kind of important staff at the club, kind of respond. Do you know what it was? It was the if anybody remembers, the Charlton game that was postponed very, very late on, and obviously there was a bit of an inquest as you would expect there to be, kind of in the aftermath of that. And obviously I'm sat there as a sort of new guy with no real involvement in sort of match day operations as such. But I had a comment I wanted to make, and I have the utmost respect for Barry, because of all of those people in the room, Barry was the kind of was the one that saw that I wanted to say something and actually kind of invited me to the floor and gave me, as that new person and the least familiar face in the room, kind of the opportunity to kind of contribute to that discussion and say my piece. So, I've nothing but good things to say about Barry Fry.
Yeah, do you know what? That's the thing, isn't it, with Barry, is that, and we definitely learned after our recording with DMAC, is that there's so much that goes on behind closed doors that you just wish that you were a fly on the wall for. Like the fact that Barry goes and watches the player and makes a final decision, you think that's the role of a scout. Is Barry Fry just a scout? Well, no, he's not, because like you say, you certainly wouldn't want to be sat opposite him at a negotiating table with him screaming at you, telling him that we're not paying any more than the number that he's got written on his piece of paper. It appears like I've got all of the silly questions coming up, so can't find my knees. Reveal yourself with a correct name first and foremost. Wants to know whether you would have awarded me and Charlie best dressed at the FCAs.
Right. Well, I was surprised, Ash, to see you in, I don't know what you'd call it, like a bomber jacket or something like that. And so if I'm picking out of the two of you, Chaz has dug his dinner jacket out, and beige at that, which is strong. So if I'm having to pick between the two of you, I'm going to have to go with Charlie, I'm afraid.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought you were going to say you were surprised to see me in trousers. Because you best believe if I could have got away with wearing shorts, I would have done. Maybe next year when we go for the back-to-back, I will just wear shorts.
Yeah, well, I remember I when we pulled up to the FCA's, Ash was sat in his car and he had shorts on still because he hadn't put his trousers on yet. And I just thought he was going to wear them in and just thought, you know what, fair enough. He was in shorts and a t-shirt. And I was like, who's going to say anything to Ashley Wilson? I wasn't definitely planning to. Question from David Brown. God, we have Mark. You are popular this evening. The chat are absolutely grilling you. I think we may have fallen down the path of people thinking you're in the know because I don't know what's going on, but some of the later ones are quite bizarre. But it's a question from David Brown. Who do you think will replace Archie Collins in Jan? Do you think that replacement's in the building, or are you going to give us some scouting knowledge from the EFL?
Yeah, I mean this is a weak area for me because I am an ardent Posh fan more so than I am a football fan. I think it's probably a fair statement. So you need a Max on here, to sort of talk about kind of talent elsewhere. But I think there's probably an inevitable transitional period where it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've got so many midfield options, and yet I don't see one right now that does what Archie Collins does. It's not. I mean, we've seen Donny O'Brien Brady in that role earlier in the season, whether it's been in cup games or what have you, and and that hasn't worked. Everybody's had an uplift under the new manager, but would anybody be happy to kind of see that as the immediate step change? I don't think so. Keller to me is, I think, showing some real signs of promise, but again, I think plays a very, very different role in the team. So I think, I think if Archie goes, he is a player that needs to be replaced. I think he leaves a big hole. And I think we'd have to go into the market in that instance.
Yeah. I'm going to stick by it. And Steve said, I still just think that there's a chance that give it 3 months and Archie, sorry, not Charlie. Crikey, it's way past my bedtime on a Sunday night. Archie sees that we're in for a run, and maybe we get close to the playoffs, and he thinks, "Oh, do you know what? I fancy a bit of this next season." I think that there's a real chance that we manage to time down, maybe to a 2-year contract. And then with the view to potentially selling in the summer after, but maybe that's me just dreaming. Ed wants to know, Mark, who your favourite Posh manager of all time is. I'm going to say you can't say Fergie. Have some of
that. Well, that puts me on the spot then, doesn't it? If you take Fergie off the table, realistically, who is there with a body of work that you could credibly point to and go, that's my favourite Posh manager of all time? So I'm going to take the cop out. I'm going to go with Barry Fry. We were not a good team under his management, but he provided, entertainment of a fashion. So, I'm going to cop. Listen, if I can't point to anybody else who's had notable success, I may as well, point to somebody who was reasonably entertaining in the role.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Luke Williams, he literally all he has to do is get a promotion, and he'll be like the second best Posh manager of most of our lifetimes, won't he? Because there really has been nobody else. We quizzed Dara. We said, "Have you ever actually appointed a good manager other than Fergie?" And he kept being like, "Well, Steve Evans is a good manager. This guy's a good manager. Blah blah blah." But good managers for Posh, we've not had a huge amount, have we?
No, and I've just sneakily had a quick look in the chat, and somebody said Chris Turner, which is I'm going to be shot now, aren't I? But I will say, in my defence, in mitigation, ever so slightly before I came to the table, which is why that name wasn't immediately in my head, but very fair shout.
Yeah, that's before my time too, to be fair. What else have we got? Steve loves the question. He's coming with, would you tie Tom Lees down? I mean, I'm going to just actually cut this question off at the source and say we have no idea how long we've got Tom Lees down. For all we know, it could have been a 5-year deal. So there's no reason why to believe that his deal does expire in January. But I guess I'll broaden the question out and say, Mark, have you been pleasantly surprised by Tom Lees this season?
Surprised, yes. Pleasantly, no, because I think we knew of his caliber, right? But I think you're right that I certainly viewed that as a stopgap signing. You know, the ambiguity around the length of contract and what have you. This looked like a guy that we were bringing in until Sam Hughes was fit to return, and may very well still be the case. That said, I think that his performances are at a level whereby, you know, if he's in the starting 11 on the last game of the season, I think you can have absolutely no qualms with that. I think the guy is doing everything that's required of him. You know, there was some talk about his ability to kind of play with the ball. Sam Hughes got that sort of same criticism early on, and actually, you know, I've always been. That's been a pleasant surprise, I guess, is Sam Hughes' ability to play. You know, so it's what I think is a fascinating prospect is we know that Luke Williams is sort of fluid in his approach to team selection, to tactics. You know, he said that in post-match interviews, hasn't he? That kind of, you know, the players will dictate kind of the approach that's taken to a particular game. And I tell you what, you know, few things will make me happier this season than if we line up for a game with three at the back and you have Sam Hughes, Tom Lees and Tom O'Connor in there, because I just think that represents such a pivot from the kind of young and hungry and the realization that actually these grizzled kind of, you know, workhorses at the back, you know, are keeping clean sheets for us on a regular basis. And I just think there's something beautiful about that.
Well, I'm gonna call this the last one for you, Mark, before we move on to a prediction, because we're running some serious time here. If we pull off the playoffs, do we go up?
You want me to go first on that?
Absolutely.
I would say that looking at the league table at the moment, looking at our form, looking at the form of teams like Stevenage, who've come out the blocks flying, but, you know, are tapering off a little bit now. I think if you believe it's possible for us to get to the playoffs, then you can't not believe it's possible for us to win them if we get there. So, yes.
I'm with you. I'm confident. Yeah, I'm confident that we will get the playoffs. And I am confident that no team will want to face us over two legs, because we could blow them away. Even if we have let's think back to playing at home against Sheffield Wednesday. We could blow a team away and then not have a chance. Now, fingers crossed, we score the fifth goal, because it would be written in the stars for us to take a 4-0 lead into the second leg of the playoffs, and Luke Williams be an absolute master of going to win 4-0 again. But I'm confident. It's just something different, isn't it? I'm sure I said this on Friday night. It just feels good to be Peterborough United all of a sudden. Not that it felt terrible, but it wasn't as positive as I thought it could have been. And now it just really does feel positive that all sort of corridors of Peterborough United are firing and firing well.
Do you know what? I'm glad you made that point, because I was going to say that. You know, it's easy when you say we're talking about Peterborough United to just think about kind of the men's first team, right? But you look at the success the women's team's having. You look at, you know, I think I'd said to you in jest, Ash, in conversation, you know, we're making a big deal of how the under-21s are performing, and less so about the fact that, you know, there's a huge number of out of favour first team League One caliber players in, you know, mopping. But that's not been the case in recent team selections, since I know Luke Williams not directly involved necessarily with the 21s, but like they're still performing now at a noticeably high level without being, if you like, topped up by those sort of first teamers. So it just, you know, everywhere has been lifted and directly impacted by this.
100%, without a doubt. I think it's just a great time to be a Posh fan. I would not have thought I would have been saying this, but especially when Ash and I did that sort of 5 game. Well, I didn't do the last one, but there were like 5 Posh games in 5 days. And, you know, so we got to see the under 21s and the under 18s and the women's team and the men's team twice. And it was like, yeah, we won every game and we were getting clean sheets and scoring loads of goals. And you just think the health of the club looks really good. So, Mark, we'll move on to the final bit, because we don't want to keep you for too long. And if we went through all of these questions, we'd be here till, you know, kick off on Tuesday night. But I will ask you for your score prediction. We always do it. Who is your first Peterborough United goal scorer, and what is the score going to be?
Okay, we're supposed to be apprehensive about this, aren't you? And go, well, I think I've never been more confident we're going to win 3-0, and I think it's going to be one of those games we come away from feeling like it should have been 6 or 7. And I think Jimmy J Morgan. So, Charlie, if my kids watch this back, I'm going to get absolutely done for that. I've lost it now. And I think first goal scorer, come on, back on track. First goal scorer, I think is going to be Jimmy J Morgan because, he's come out the blocks, hasn't he? 3-3 to start. Not scored for a little while since, but I think, he had the bit between his teeth on Thursday. And I think it's only a matter of time before he's back on the score sheet. So 3-0 Posh, Jimmy J Morgan to score first.
Great. I've gone for JJM for my first goal scorer as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Mark. You've been a quality guest. You've been absolutely grilled by the chat, so go and have a lay down.
Cheers, guys.
And I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for subjecting you to a 6-7 joke at the end.
Absolute pleasure, guys. Take care.
Cheers, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna need one of those moments. Can I just compose myself quickly because I might start crying again? If I actually can't believe that you've done that on a live stream. That can't be edited out. That's there.
Do you want me to give you a bit of time while I go through some questions?
I think that's best.
Right. The Posh drama. We'll start here. Could the blue section be doing more, and if so, what? Well, first of all, we're a massive advocate for the blue section, aren't we? Up the Poshcast, we've, spoken to them quite a bit. I think what they're doing is absolutely fantastic. I think the displays are looking great. I'm so excited to see what they're going to do for that Northampton Town display. I think I checked earlier today, and they've raised £450. I think we chucked a little donation in there from the podcast as well, just to support them. They're doing a great job, and I think the only thing they can be doing is just talking to as many people as they can, just trying to get people on board that maybe aren't already on board, try and get people that usually go in the London Road End to try out the GH for a game and stuff like that. And just keep putting out positive communication, keep communicating, keep working hard, driving the standards. But yeah, they're doing a great job, the blue section. And, I have very, very little complaints about them.
I'm only going to echo what you say, Charlie. I've got nothing more to add on that. I'll pull this one up briefly before I move on to the next one. Do you think that the GH should be open for good? Absolutely. And I'm confident that Northampton, Orient and Reading will be another 3 positive steps in the direction of season tickets in the GH. Next up, Neville Hanks. Do we think that Sam Hughes will struggle to get back into this winning side at the moment? The short answer to that is yes. The long answer is that this puts us in a fantastic position for me, where we do not have to rush Sam Hughes back from his injury. I'm pretty sure it was Achilles that he snapped, which means he must have had surgery on it. No doubt he had some bolts added in there so that he could keep it still, and has probably had to keep it at a certain angle for probably a couple of weeks or a couple of months. So I think that this is a great, and this, this all feeds into the whole everything's good at Peterborough United at the moment, is that we are not having to rush players back because we've got it going so well on the pitch at the moment. And there's not sort of that pressure of, we need this. If you'd have asked me this 4 weeks ago, much like when we had the Stevenage fan on, I'd have said, we absolutely need Sam Hughes back because we are in a relegation battle. What did I say in the summer? We signed Sam Hughes because it was an acceptance that we're in a relegation battle. Now, I don't think that we need Sam Hughes as much. But when he does come back, I'm sure that he will have a positive influence.
Yeah, he's going to partner Tom O'Connor really well. And what him coming back might do, which is something that I'm sure we'll talk about on a different episode, and don't want to go into too much now, but potentially open the door to loan moves for maybe George Nevitt, for example, for the second half of the season. Could be a positive sort of repercussion of that. I'll go on to this one. This was directed at Mark, but I'll just answer it briefly for fingers. Mark, do you know this contract status? Which one? I can't remember which one's the English pronunciation. The status of Tom Lee's and Rio's road to recovery. Well, it's not looking good for Rio, is it? I think it's generally accepted now. He was meant to play in an under-21s game 2 weeks ago. He didn't. Hasn't featured for them yet. It's not looking good. And nobody knows the contract status of Tom Lee's. Nobody knows. It's a mystery. As I said, it could be a 5-year deal. It could be, a five days left on it. We will never know. But I think it's one of those where he must be really enjoying his football, and I think we're really enjoying having him. So it's, even if the contract was, say, set to expire in 2 weeks' time, it would be a relatively straightforward thing to extend that as long as we need him. So, yeah, he's been great for us so far.
Yeah, I'm going to make comment on Rio because do you know what the biggest surprise of the summer was? That we released that A Day in the Life Road to Recovery video where he could barely do a 10-degree squat essentially, and obviously that was a long way or a long time ago probably, but I just think it was just such a bad decision. There's a chance that this guy doesn't play football for Posh the way that it's going. Dara's already spoken about how he wishes that he had insurance on the transfer of Rio Adebisi, and you've got to feel for him because he never had the chance, did he? He played 12 minutes was it at Stockport, and then he gets injured on Christmas Day, I think it was, did his ACL, and it was already a bad knee injury before that, and then the ACL's just sort of compounded that, hasn't it? Chaz, question for you. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Was it your dad's jacket? And actually, what we should say is that it was a good job that you brought 2 jackets on Thursday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Max forgot
his...
his... Yeah, so I brought like a jacket and then like one of those like smart coat things. And then Max shows up to the hotel and he goes, "Charlie, you'll never believe it." And I went, "What?" And he said, "I've left my suit jacket on the kitchen table." So Max ended up wearing my jacket. The truth is, it wasn't my dad's jacket, but it was my granddad's jacket. He first got me into Posh. And when he passed away a few years ago, he gave me that jacket was handed down to me. And I thought, you know what will be really nice? You know, the guy that got me into Posh, going to the SCAs for the Peterborough United podcast with a little badge in it, is to wear my granddad's jacket. So it was actually a family heirloom jacket. I know Colin thinks he's bantered me there, but there we go. A nice wholesome answer. So have that, Colin.
Colin feels terrible now.
1-0 me. Right, let's find
but you're down bad, Chaz. Don't forget, you actually 6-7'd on the live stream, so you've got some work to do to pull it back. This one from David Brown up next. It was another one for Mark, wasn't it? Do you think that tough game at Doncaster? We will of course preview that on Friday night again at 8 p.m. countdown to kickoff, but I don't think it is a tough game at Doncaster. They are in a run of form that we were in 2 months ago. They're absolutely shocking. They've drawn 0-0 with Stevenage. I think that we're going to go this week, Tuesday, win, Saturday, win. And my predictions will follow that. Chaz, don't know about yours?
Yeah, Doncaster, I'm just looking. They haven't won in like their last 6 in the league. They're like, maybe even 7. But yeah, they are not. I'm not concerned about that game, to be honest, at all. What else have we got in this chat from the Posh drummer? I mean, this is getting to the point where, you know, we're going into crazy hypotheticals.
Chance, we've literally.
Oh, sorry, I read. Sorry,
we've already done that one.
That wasn't. Yeah. I thought for some reason I read it. Do we stay up? If we go up in playoffs, do we stay up? Sorry. No. Oh, this is what I was reading from him. Sorry. If we go up, we also stay up, which, you know, that's a crazy hypothetical. PK to stay in January ? I hope so. I mean, if we're on an absolute charge and, you know, we're looking like we're gonna steam the playoffs, and then Kyoso gets recalled again and it derails another potential promotion season, I think John Verrill's face will be like a tomato. I think it will be ridiculous, the anger coming from that. And so many Posh fans, we cannot make that mistake again. We were assured in the announcement tweet that early on from Dara that there will be no recall for Peter Kyoso. And even though there was a weird article that came out in the PT a couple of weeks ago that was like break clause for Kyoso, I think that's probably one of those where it's like if he plays less than 5 games, he gets recalled or something like that. But I think there simply is no way that we allow Peter Kyoso to go back to Oxford in January. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, simple one, isn't it? I think that Swanee put out that salacious headline just to tempt some views onto the old PT website, get people thinking that there's a chance that Peter Kyoso goes back to Oxford. I'm confident that the man at the top has got a deal where there's no chance that PK goes back under Oxford's terms. The only way that he would go back would be under our terms. Ed has asked who my favourite Posh women's player is. After saying Mark could only choose one, I'm going to cop out and I am going to choose 2. First is up the Poshcast sponsored Kaylee Hines. What a midfielder she is. I absolutely love the way that she's just everywhere on the pitch. Cannot complain. And my second option is Lauren Wilshaw. She plays on the left wing. She beats players constantly, and her corners are absolutely ridiculous. There have been so many Posh goals this season from corners because every single one is in the back half of the goal, and it from the right hand. Well, yeah, an in-swinger. She's right-footed. They're literally just over the keeper's head. Niamh Connor or one of the other defenders at the back post, bullet header one into the back of the net. So those two are my answers. Posh Drummer said that there will be a time we sell out the GH every single game. I absolutely hope so. I hope that I hope that when March comes around and season tickets get released, season tickets are in the GH. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely lagging over here. DMAC does mention a lot about we punch above our weight for our gate crowd. I don't see why the GH stand isn't open permanently. I mean, I do. I'm going to be honest. There is no way that it would be intelligent to have the London Road End and the GH open for every game. Like Tuesday night, Stevenage will bring a couple of hundred fans. The terrace won't be anywhere near sold out. It will be probably 70%, 65% capacity. If we had the GH open as well, it would be an absolute nightmare. Plus, speaking to people at the club, there is a significant cost that's associated with opening, the GH, because you've got to pay people to do the concourse and pay stewards to be in there. And there's an extra cost because you need more police if you have an extra stand opening. It is not financially viable, and it would just be throwing money away for a lot of these games. However, there is a world where we say, well, the GH is the better stand. We have that open permanently, and then we only open the London Road End as overflow, which is not a popular view. I've argued it with many people over social media, and I fear that I will be arguing it again and again for years to come. But it is a genuine thing that should be considered, and there will be a genuine movement for it in the coming years. I'm going to be 100% certain of that.
No notes on that one from me. What else have we got?
Do we sign a left back in Jan? Harley Mills is cooking now. I think the only thing would be if Mendy gets fully recalled, and then we need a backup to Mills. But I wouldn't want to see Mills kicked out the team right now. Would you, Ash?
No, I wouldn't. But did I hear somewhere that Luke Williams was looking forward to working with Mendy as well, or am I just making that up? I genuinely don't know where I've got that from, or whether somebody's fed me some false information. But I'm pretty sure that Luke Williams would like Mendy to come back when he's back from his injury. So whether that's just a sort of a rotation thing, because Harley Mills can't play 60 games a season like Harrison Burrows did, I just think that it will be a case of Mendy comes in as backup, depending on what the agreement was that we had with Wrexham, so that Luke Williams can rotate and keep Harley Mills fresh.
Yeah, 100%. We had Adar with a question. Don't disagree once it's open and people settle, can't it? No, it's not really a question, but yeah, I agree, Adar. You know what I would love to see? This is. I had a dream about this the other day. I think we get to the Virtue Trophy semi-final. We get a home one finally, because we're going to win the Virtue again. And in that game, that's when we trial it with the London Road End shut, because we have no commitment to anybody to have the London Road End open for that game. And we have all our Posh fans in the GH, a bit like Blackpool did when we played them in the trophy. An absolute wall of noise coming from that GH display for a cup semi-final. And I really do think, and if it goes to penalties in front of the GH. And I do genuinely believe that if we did that, that would change some people's minds about the GH display. So hopefully we get that home semi-final, and then we'll be in a better place. And some kind words from G-Dog as well, Ash.
Yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest. Thank you, G-Dog, for the words. However, I've got simply no idea what a Henley Regatta is.
It's like a really fancy, I think it's like a canoeing race or like a rowing race. It's basically they dress up in really terrible like posh attire, and guess what the joke he's making is about my late grandfather's jacket, that it was a poor attire. So hold on, G-Dog. I'm obviously joking. Yeah, listen. I don't dress up formally very often. I don't have a huge amount of suits, which would surprise a lot of people, by the way. I don't have a lot of suits at my disposal. So yeah, when it's the odd occasion like this, you sort of got to take what you can get, don't you?
No, absolutely. And speaking of odd occasions, it's Harry Ander's wedding this weekend, so it's going to be 2 times of wearing trousers in literally 10 days. I cannot believe it. I'm fuming. Chaz, I'm pretty sure that we're getting nearly there, but there is one important thing that we need to tick off. It is the next level Barbell Club Predictions League.
Yes.
And our predictions for the week. So, as always, I'm going to skip your prediction. I'm going to pull them up on screen. And I'll run through everybody else's so that the listeners, when this goes out tomorrow morning, can hear it. And then you can talk us through yours. So, first up, me, 2-0 Posh win. I've gone with Garbutt because I do think that he comes in for Otto. I think that's an easy change, a nice rotation to make. Harry has gone 3-2 Posh win with Lisby scoring the first goal. John has also gone 2-0 with Harry Leonard. Lods is a 2-1. Harry Leonard also, and Max 4-1 with Cairo Lisby scoring. So Harry, Lods, and Max do not think that we're going to keep a clean sheet, which they clearly have not done their Stevenage research. Chaz, do you want to talk us through yours?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone 2-0 as well. I think Jimmy J. Morgan will be in the team, and I think he's fed up of being, the guy. He's meant to be the tapping merchant. That's how he started off his time at Posh. He's been being way too generous to people in recent weeks, and I think it's time for him to get a goal of his own. And I love Jimmy J. Morgan. I absolutely love the bloke. He's quality, isn't he? And I think he'll be the first Posh player on the score sheet. Get your predictions in, yeah. Get them in the chat. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Lindgren Hattie. I'd love it, and I think I deserve it as well. I would just love Gustav Lindgren to get back on track. What else have we got? New badge, new stand.
Let me in with this one, Chaz, because this is the ultimate solution. Like, nobody's arguing that this is the right thing. Like, if the London Road End gets bulldozed, then we build a nice new stand in that replacement of that, even a GH equivalent. That's the solution. But unfortunately, there's just so many bad logistics around it. Like, essentially, we've got to buy out the car wash. We would have to buy out Quick Fit. We'd probably have to buy out the Europe car on the end. Then you've got the pizza place. You've got the hairdressers. All of those buildings will all have to go. What I would love from that stand is a Bramall Lane style stand where it's literally turnstiles on the street, close the road for every game between 2:30 and 5:30 on a Saturday, so that there's no traffic passing through, and have a big single wall Dortmund style stand so that when we're in the Championship and thriving, we're full and we're bouncing. However, that's going to cost a lot of money. So when I do have £50 million, not entirely sure where I'm going to get it from. When I do have £50 million, that will be the Ashley Wilson stand. And I will donate that money so that we can resolve the GH and London Road End debate.
Yeah, listen, this is the thing is, I don't have any issue with the geographical London Road End. It's just, when you look at it, it's just the GH is so much nicer in so many ways. It's a better stand categorically. Factually, it is a better stand in my opinion. I think there are genuine, because people go, oh no, it's a better stand in your opinion, but I think there are genuine tangible, objective reasons why the GH is a better football stand than the London Road End. And I think, I could do a presentation about that and prove it. Fleetwood Zach, I've only just got that he's referencing Fleetwood Mac there. That's very clever. Honest prediction is 3-1. Harvey White puts them ahead, then we overwhelm them. Oh, I wouldn't want to go behind, that would stress me out a lot. Posh 4, Stevenage 1. When you win back-to-back awards in all... Well, Ash, you know what? You said that you still haven't updated that profile picture on Twitter for a very long time. And I need to see more full kit Ash, because it's now you playing in the charity match. And I need another photo shoot.
That's not actually true, because I did update it after we played last season, didn't we, in the staff match. But yes, you're right. I absolutely need to don my kit. Maybe I'll put on all 6 that I've got and just do a squad lineup of what did we discuss on Friday night? We all dream of a team of Lisbys. How about we all dream of a team of Ashley Wilsons?
Yeah.
In goal at the back. It would be the slowest. the Stevenage fan was saying there's a way that Stevenage play football. A team of Ashley Wilson's would be the slowest way to play football. And do you know what? I think I'd give it a blooming good go. But,
it'd be like Simeone's Atletico Madrid, wouldn't it? It would be just a horrible team to play against. Steve Evans would love to coach a team of Ashley Wilson's. I know that for a fact. You got neat feet, to be fair, Ash. Like when you were playing in that charity match, you had a little bit about you. It was just, when the high line started, it was difficult to get onside.
and then my hamstring went. I was in a whole world of problems. I'm not sure that I fully recovered from that. Oh yeah, look, is that a threat or a promise, Mr. Posh Drummer?
We were meant to be having a charity match against the media team at Posh. We were going to do a 6-a-side when it was all kicking off at the start of last season, and then that got lost in the midst of relegation. But
I was going to wrap us up. We've missed out some very important comments. I've got to scroll back frantically now.
Oh no!
Because somebody mentioned it, didn't they? Matt Meacham. This is the Clive Edwards derby. Oh
yeah, Clive.
Lots. The Clive Edwards derby, the ultimate battle for 3 points. I know who's winning that one. Scotty has dropped. Also called it the Clive Edwards derby. It's the only rivalry that they will get against us. I will, of course, be getting as close to Clive as possible, so I can give him the loudest boo for no other reason than that's just what I did whenever I saw him at Posh games. And I'm really looking forward to the away leg as well, because hopefully he'll do that walk around the pitch and he'll get up close and personal with the Posh end.
Yeah,
who knows? I don't know where he's going to sit. I don't know whether he's going to be sat in the media section or the director's box. So that'll be an interesting one.
I reckon he's going to pull a sickie. I think he's going to dodge it. I don't think Clive's got the minerals for Peterborough away. Not with his. It'll be like Sol Campbell going back to Arsenal, going back to Tottenham after the move. It's going to be hostile. But no, Clive will be, I'm sure, jestily welcomed back. But it's not that bad, is it?
Right. One more question before we wrap, just because it's just come in. What is your favourite Posh chant?
Oh, this is hard,
It is. I want to bring a classic back. I don't even know what it is. La 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 Bora. Bring that back.
What do you mean you don't know what it is? That's Hey Jude.
No, that. Yeah, I know, but I couldn't find that. That's what I'm saying. That's what right. I couldn't find. I want to do that. If you see me in the GH for that Northampton game, I want to be doing that for 15 minutes straight when we're 4-0 up.
Yeah,
that is my favorite chant. It's so simple. Yeah, like everybody can do it. It can ring around all four sides of the stadium, and it can just go. So blue section, let's get that one back and active for the Northampton game. Is probably going to be the next one that we're in there for.
Yeah, I like that one. I also like. I like. Woke up this morning feeling fine, because that's quite. Not many clubs have that one. That's quite a nice one. But yeah, the na 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 Borough is a good one. What else do we? I mean, I think it's time to start introducing some new chants now. We've had. What has Lods put in? He has the pace. He has the power. I don't know if anyone's seen that Hearts chant for Claudio Braga. But imagine we could get that going, all we need is Abraham Oddo or something like that. Or Jimmy J. Morgan, or even David Akagbue. He has the pace, he has the power. That could be the one. I do think we need to diversify the chants. I also think when we play Cobblers in a couple of weeks, we need to bring back Build a Bonfire, because that one's completely died out, and that's quite a good one. Gets me in the Derby Day spirit. Put the Cambridge on the top, put the Cobblers in the middle, and burn the lot. That malarkey. I'm a big fan of football chants. Listen, you completely set me off here, Ash, because I could talk for days about the anatomy of football chants and which ones I want to see us introduce. We also
maybe we need like a Posh chants Twitter account. Should we get on that?
What, the Posh? What, you mean the one that I'm already logged into, the Posh Hymns one?
Well, let's not call them hymns, because that's woke nonsense, isn't it? we need Posh chants where we can put out words and get everybody involved and then get that shared. Like, seriously though, we are rambling now. Let's call this quick. It's literally 9:20 on a Sunday evening. Thank you so much to everybody that has joined us We've had some seriously good numbers tonight. I'm almost going to suggest in the group chat that we do a Sunday night live every week, but I will probably
Bring back
get
Borough
rebutted
on my mind. Yeah.
on that. Look, I loved a Sunday night live with Borough on my mind, but we would have a serious clash of what are we going to talk about, because it can't just be ramblings. It could be if that's what people want to hear, but it can't be ramblings week in, week out, can it? So
what we need is
everybody.
Sorry. What we need is the people that are in here tonight asking all the questions. Clear your Friday night schedules and come and join us then. Then that solves all the solutions, and we can have all the questions in, because this has been thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, and also I would like people to acknowledge that I've managed to get rid of my afro around my head. Please, in the comments, especially the people that watch it back, they constantly pepper me for having the little black afro that I've got around my head, but I've managed to dispel it and get rid of it. So again, thank you to everybody that's tuned in tonight. Thank you to the Next Level Barbell Club for their sponsorship of the Predictions League. Remember that the table, Lods is currently top of that table, so can somebody please knock him off, because we can't have another Poshcast coach winning the monthly prize. I also think that Mr. B hasn't got back to us yet for the October prize. So if you're listening to this, Mr. B, please do drop us a DM or an email, contact@uptheposhcast.com. And thank you, of course, to My Mum's Business Prime Vehicle Sales for their sponsorship of this live show, the Man of the Match Award, the full ratings, and our final whistle episode, which will be dropping on Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. That's when we'll next be back for everybody there. We know Monday 7 a.m. show. Wednesday 7 a.m. when we are back next, and then we will be live again on Friday night to preview Doncaster Rovers. Up the Poshcast.
Up the Poshcast. Yeah.